Paris, one of Europe's great venues, a city that knows big occasions, knows always how to put on a show, doesn't it? And on nights like this, everything feels just that little bit more dramatic. And this is where it leads, the Parc de France, home of the European champions in PSG, and a stadium expecting to see more success this season. Arne has a massive job on his hands tonight. His side does need a bit of a pick-me-up after that FA Cup exit. He's made two changes. Mo Salah misses out. Curtis Jones too. Jeremy Frimpong and Alexis McAllister come into the team. It is the Champions League quarter-final. Paris Saint-Germain versus Liverpool kicks off at 8 o'clock tonight, and we will have full audio commentary of the match on LFC TV and All Red Video as well. And there is no need for us to hype up this game, is there? The last 8 of this competition speaks for itself. We'll, of course, get the thoughts of Gary Gillespie and Phil Thompson here in the studio in just a minute. First, let's take a check on the two teams in full that will start tonight in Paris. For the Reds, first of all, Gorgi Mamardashvili is in goal. In front of him, it's Joe Gomez, Ibu Konate and Virgil van Dijk, who's played every single minute of this Champions League campaign so far this season, with Milos Kerkez at left back completing the back line. Alexis McAllister and Ryan Gravenberch sit in front of them. Then it's Jeremy Frimpong, Dominic Szoboszlai and Florian Wirtz, and Hugo Ekitike leads the line for the Reds tonight. Looking at the bench as well, Alexander Isak is back in the Liverpool squad. That for the first time since December. Mo Salah also amongst the substitutes for Liverpool tonight. For Paris Saint-Germain as well, 8 of the side that started against Liverpool last season are in the 11. A new face in goal this year as well, Matvei Safonov, a back four of Achraf Hakimi, Marquinhos, William Pacho and Nuno Mendes as well. It's a 3-man midfield of Warren Zaire-Emery, Vitinha and João Neves as well, behind a front three of Kvaratskhelia, Ousmane Dembele and Desiree Doué. No Bradley Barcola in the squad tonight for Paris Saint-Germain. But despite his return to training earlier on in the week, he's not made the squad this evening. It is a warm welcome to you two on what is one of the biggest nights, Tomo, of this season. How much are you looking forward to this one?
I'm looking forward to it because you've got to. These don't come along too much, and I know we've had some great times over the years. So of course it comes up and you go, wow, I want to be a part of this. We miss it greatly, honestly. And the older we get, you do not sort of take this lightly, to play in games like this in a city like Paris, and you've just got to welcome it. You've just got to be ready to embrace it, to take it all on. Yes, it's a difficult time all round, but my goodness, what a great place to sort of play well.
These are the nights that you dream of, Gary. I imagine when you're growing up and you're a footballer and this is Champions League nights under the lights, as Tomo says, in Paris, it is what it's all about.
Well, it's big occasions, isn't it? And like for big occasions, you need your big players to turn up. So hopefully Liverpool's big players will turn up tonight. But no, it's always a special occasion, isn't it, playing in the Champions League, whether it be the Champions League or like back in our day when it was the European Cup. And especially coming to a top side like Paris Saint-Germain, who, let's face it, are like strong favourites to get a result here against Liverpool tonight. But in saying that, our pedigree and our history and the whole kind of ethos like about Liverpool Football Club is built on success in European football. Hopefully we can have a little bit more of that this season. We
need a little bit of the attitude, don't we, of Galatasaray at home, a little bit of anger, a little bit of togetherness. You know, it's the motivation from that, what happened in the first leg. We need to use things like that. Need to have used it more throughout the season. But tonight is one of those nights where you've got to sort of have your self-pride, is to be ready to go out and do your bit individually, as a unit, and we're going to do it. When we attack well, we take our chances. When we defend better than we have done. It's as simple as that.
You make it sound so easy,
Tomo. Well, don't I?
Let's see if it works out that way.
That's the way it was at the weekend. If we'd have took our chances earlier on, you don't know. Losing that second goal just before half-time, a late goal, either at the end of games or certainly like that, has absolutely killed us this year.
There's so much talk about what happened at the weekend, and
Yeah.
can you almost flip that on its head? And as well as being a really difficult situation to overcome, also Liverpool are a wounded animal, will have a point to prove tonight.
No, absolutely, and that's the way I feel. Now,
Yeah.
without talking to Gary about it, I think he'd be the same. Is that you want to prove a point? What went on then, particularly second half, was not acceptable. And we are going to be ready for it. We're going to make those wrongs right. And it is so much. It's things like this. We've had quite a few, and we've not took advantage of it. So we all have to be ready to produce the best of us. And I don't think that's been enough. Get anger, get motivated individually, and we'll have a chance.
Yeah, it's painful viewing watching this back again, Gary, but just in terms of maybe the lessons that can always be taken from even the most difficult of situations, it maybe emphasises the importance of getting that first goal, because Liverpool, arguably the better team for a good half an hour at least in that first half, and there were chances.
Well, at the beginning of that clip, I think we just saw like two opportunities that had Liverpool taken it, like who knows what the game would have turned out to be. Manchester City certainly dominated us in the second half, but for long spells, probably about 35-40 minutes in the first half, we were well in the game, to be quite honest with you.
But it was always going to be like that. With losing that second goal, then do we go for it? Do we have and chase the game? And you always got, especially playing the likes of Manchester City, that you'll get hurt, and we did. And we're trying to sort of still play our way. They must have been made up playing against us and going, they're going to come at us now.
Yeah.
They're going to pick us off. And that's the position that we got ourselves into. That first chance for Mo is so simple, and he takes a touch and the ball rolls away from him that he can't get a clean strike. We have to be better at big moments in games.
Yeah, Mohamed Salah finds himself on the bench tonight. Let's get your thoughts on the lineup in general, because there are options for the boss certainly to bring on. Obviously Mo, but Alexander-Isak, we don't know match fitness where he's at, but I suppose it is a possibility in the later stages of the game at least.
Me and Gary could go back to the Central League and you can have 3-4 games in there, particularly after a broken leg. You need things like that. That doesn't happen these days. So his fitness level is only going to be given by playing in the game, playing half a game, playing an hour. So he might have 20 minutes in his legs if, say, Ekitike sort of went. To go two up front means we're going to be chasing the game, and that's when it becomes dangerous against us. But it's great to have him back. It's great to be involved. It gives us a lot more firepower on the bench.
OK, we are going to pay our first visit over to Paris, to the Parc de France. Let's get the thoughts of Jason McAteer. He is with our very own Rob Jones.
Becky, thank you very much indeed. Good evening. Welcome to the French capital. It has been an absolutely beautiful day here. Jason McAteer is alongside me. 29 years on from playing in a Cup Winners' Cup semi-final here. Memories? I mean, you've shown literally everyone in the ground a picture of you playing that night, just so everyone knows who you are.
Well, it was a long time ago, and a lot has changed. It's a beautiful stadium, that's changed. The results obviously didn't go our way, did it on the night. We got beaten 3-0. Obviously got them back to Anfield, turned it around 2, but we couldn't get the decisive equaliser, and unfortunately we went out. I think it was a Cup Winners' Cup, if I remember right.
Cup, yeah.
Paris went on to play Barcelona, lost 1-0 in the final, didn't they? But yeah, again, falling at the final hurdle. Story of my life, to be honest.
How Liverpool would love to be in a final against Barcelona or anyone else this year. You talked about how times have changed. Do you think we're going to see a formation change from Arne Slot tonight?
That's the rumour, and having a look at the team, it does look that way. I feel for the manager, to be honest. Listen, this is a two-legged tie, obviously, and we want to get back to Anfield. We know what we can do at Anfield with the atmosphere and the fans. We want to get there. We want to be in the tie. So I totally understand why he would go 3 at the back, 5 in midfield. At times, that's going to be a 5. He wants to protect. The team aren't in a good place at the minute. They're fragile. There's not a lot of confidence around, so I totally understand why he would choose to do that. Listen, if he comes away with a result, he's a genius. If we get beat convincingly, then, it's going to be a sign of desperation going 5 at the back, isn't it? So I do feel for him in that sense. But I think he's made the right decision. It's not an easy system to play. You can't just fall into it, as Man United have shown in the past. Almiron came, he went 3 at the back. They couldn't handle it, could they? But there have been teams that have been able to do it. Leeds, for one, have been able to go that way. So we'll see what it brings.
Do you feel as though Jeremy Frimpong and Milos Kerkez are fairly natural wing-backs?
I've always said, certainly from Frimpong's point of view, that he's the ideal wing-back. You know, I played that position myself. You've got to be able to get up, attack. You've also got to lend a hand getting back defensively as well. He does have the cover and the luxury of a centre-half behind him. For me, it was Mark Wright covering it. The ball went over my head. Tonight, it looks like it's probably going to be Joe Gomez or Kanate, whoever plays on that right-hand side. But listen, he can be a threat breaking forward. He's got bags of pace. He's the more natural of the two. Kerkez, we'll have to see how he goes. It's going to be a tough ask for him on that side. I think Doué's coming to the team tonight, so Barcola will sit out. That's going to be a good little match-up, that one.
Is that dangerous area of the pitch, the little pocket between the wing-back and the centre-half, that if you can get into those gaps, that's where you can cause a team playing 3 or 5 at the back a few problems? Yeah,
I always played it like a cat and mouse with the winger. Like if I was playing against Karabatsvili tonight, I'd be asking him questions. Listen, and I know we're away from home, and maybe I should be a little bit more defensive-minded, but I would play the other side of him at times and say to him, listen, are you going to track me? Because if you don't, I'm going to be able to double up here. Karabatsvili probably would do it because his work rate is tremendous. But Jeremy's got to ask that question. You know, he can't just sit back and go into a back five, because all of a sudden you'll find yourself camped on the edge of your box and you're asking for trouble against this team that's got so much creativity in it. They can create a goal from anywhere. So he has to err on the side of caution, but I would ask the question, both sides, Kerkez and Frimpong.
Well, let's hear from the Liverpool manager then, Arne Slot, as we've touched on. A fairly bold selection formation-wise from him tonight as he looks to win in the French capital for a second successive season.
I think if you play a quarter-final, doesn't matter that much where you are in the season, if you're still in the FA Cup, League Cup, or where you are in your domestic league. It's always a special moment. We can never take a quarter-final of the Champions League for granted, let alone if you face the champions of Europe that fully deserved to win the Champions League last season and again this season are doing very, very, very well. So I don't look at that much of where we are in the season. I just look at it as a challenge on itself. And a nice one, because in football it's sometimes also nice to get a second chance. In life, in general, it's nice to get a second chance. And as I said, City and Paris Saint-Germain are quite comparable because of the quality they are having and the style of play they want to have, or they have. So it's another chance for us to show that we are not the team that we were 20 minutes that we prefer to forget in the Etihad, but we were the team in the first 35 minutes.
A year ago, you were coming up to winning the title, and the change in mood around the club's just totally different. How do you see a way out of where you are now? Because obviously the performances and results have been inconsistent for so long now.
Yeah, I cannot debate that. That's completely true, that performance and results have been very inconsistent throughout the whole season. I think the answer lies in the history of Liverpool. This club has always shown that in tough moments they stand up again, and I think we've had a lot of tough moments and we've stood up a few times but then fallen down again, and now we have to show that mentality again of just keep going and picking yourself up after disappointment, because this club has shown also many times that we can do very special things in difficult circumstances. And especially if we can bring this game to Anfield, as we saw last season, as we've seen so many times. A recent example was the Galatasaray games, where we didn't have the best game away at Galatasaray, and we played probably the best game of the season at home against Galatasaray. So the answer is already in the history of Liverpool, but it's easier said than done. My team have shown many times in big games, with the exception of twice at the Etihad, that we are able to compete with the best teams in Europe.
Well, Arne Slot spoke there, Jason, about having some good results in the Champions League this season, particularly compared to the league. If you take it from the first match day, Liverpool have won 7 matches in the Champions League, just 10 in the Premier League in the same period when they've played 27 games. So why is it that they've found something extra, or found that the Champions League is more to their liking, you would say, since the start of the season?
I think you're right. I think the Champions League has been kind to Liverpool this season. Some of their best performances have come in this competition. I think, Rob, the Premier League, listen, they plague each other season on, season out, don't they? The managers are quite used to seeing what teams do, how they set up. There's a lot of research into playing in the Premier League against opponents and stuff. Europe is a little bit different. Obviously, you match it up every now and again, aren't you, with the teams that you get drawn against. And I do think in the Champions League, teams are more expansive. They like to play. They like to be more open. You know, they don't really tend to sit back and defend like most teams do in the Premier League against Liverpool, which obviously offers Liverpool a better way of playing against teams that are open. We've seen Liverpool at their best when teams go head-to-head. You'll find that more in the Champions League. Teams believe in themselves probably a little bit more than maybe a Wolves, maybe a Burnley, maybe, you know, a Brighton or a Brentford, whoever it may be in the Premier League. So I think Liverpool will welcome the challenge tonight of maybe an open game. Listen, we're preempting that they're going to go 5 at the back. You can play a really attractive attacking football with 3 at the back, 5 in midfield, and 2, you know, we've got plenty of creativity on the pitch. We've got people in the team who can score goals. They might just surprise us and go all out.
But by definition, though, you always have more defensively minded players on the pitch in this formation. So does that mean there's even more onus on Florian Wirtz, who's created a lot of chances in the Champions League this season, to make his mark on the game tonight?
Yeah, and I think he's playing in a more natural position, isn't he? Obviously, we've seen him play on the left where he's come in, played quite narrow. As we've seen Salah against Galatasaray, the 2 players come straight in, right on Ekitike, winning the second ball from that position. Tonight, he's probably going to play as a 10, right behind Ekitike. The understanding that these 2 have got is phenomenal, isn't it? And they've really clicked. Lots of goals and creativity from them 2. So, yeah, he plays in his more natural position, but he'll have the freedom to wander in this system. And when I played it was more like Steve McManaman. I know we had Collymore and Fowler up top, but they were predominantly 2 centre-forwards. Maka was free and he sort of played on the right. You know, we got a lot of joy. Maybe you go on the left and get a bit of joy, but he was a handful to mark in that system. Wirtz can be that player tonight for Liverpool.
Just a quick final word. We started by talking about that Cup Winners' Cup semi-final where you were 3 down. History tells you that if you're that far behind, I know there was the Barcelona game, but that is almost undoable. Is it 2 and less, and Liverpool are still in the tie heading to next week? Obviously, we want to see them win the game, but worst case scenario is 2 down.
I think where Liverpool are right now as a club, I mentioned the word fragile, lack of confidence, lack of resilience. I think that is fair to aim that at the team. But let's not forget, this is individually a bunch of really, really quality players. And if they do click, you know, they can pose a question to anybody and win any game on any given moment. But it's few and far between. They need really to get back. 2, is that too much? Possibly not at Anfield under the lights. We've seen them, obviously, like you've said, with history. That might repeat itself. I would take a 1-0 defeat, but I'd love a 0-0, or even last season when Harvey Elliott popped up and got the winner when we took our balaclavas off after the 90 minutes, because we literally nicked it, didn't we?
It was, and Paris Saint-Germain played ever so well. They found their best form in the latter stages of the competition and went on to win the European Cup by thrashing Inter in the final. We will talk about Luis Enrique's side a little later on.
Thanks, lads. Yeah, the stage is set over in Paris. As the guys have been saying there, Paris Saint-Germain do have a great record at home. They've lost only 1 of their last 9 games in Paris against English sides. And of course, that was against Liverpool last season.
Well, Liverpool weren't given much reward for finishing top of the group stage. A 2-legged tie with Paris Saint-Germain is perhaps as hard as could be. Vitinha. That's nice. Kvaratskhelia, lovely effort, brilliant goal. And Kvaratskhelia was offside. Dembele is ahead. Oh, Liverpool gone walkabout, and Alisson with a truly world-class save. And Barcola over the top. Kvaratskhelia again. And he goes on, and Alisson again. What a save. One towards Nunez. Nunez goes on, and here comes the support. Elliott's first touch, scores! Oh, brilliant from Liverpool! Harvey Elliott comes from the bench, and Liverpool nick one on the counter-attack. They have been under the cosh throughout this game. Alisson has kept him in it, and they've gone down the other end in the last 10 minutes, and they've nicked one themselves.
Yeah, looking back at the corresponding fixture last season, Tomo, Jason described it as a little bit of a robbery, if you like. PSG had 27 attempts in that game. But is that a match that you can look at and go, OK, Liverpool somehow clung on to a clean sheet and then snatched it at the end? Can that be some inspiration for tonight?
We've played in games like that where you've got hammering and you've won. There's been games where you've looked at and you think you've battered the opposition and they've sneaked a 1-0 win. It's football. It's what happens, and you've got to be ready for anything. Ali that's the best goalkeeping performance that I've ever seen, particularly at such a level. And Mamardashvili needs to maybe reproduce something like that. You can't guarantee it. We, as Jason said there, you would like to think you're going to have something to hang on to when you come back, but we have to dig deep. We have to have belief in each other to make sure that we come through. So that result last year was hard to take. I did the commentary on it. Oh my goodness. Alisson was just absolutely astonishing. And we did get lucky.
Yeah, in terms of tonight, Gary, it is also a night where the leaders in this dressing room, of which there are many, really will need to be leaders out there on the field as well, won't they? They all have to stand up tonight, and it's the perfect stage on which to do it.
Well, I think I said obviously a couple of minutes ago, that big occasions are made for big players, and very much a case where your senior players, your top players, your captain like Virgil van Dijk. I mean, let's face it, we've got an awful lot of experienced players in there. You've got a World Cup winner in there, and Alexi McAllister.
There's a lot of national captains in this
Absolutely.
team. Yeah,
you got Andy Robertson, obviously he's not starting the game, but you got Dominik Szoboszlai, who's the captain of Hungary. So you've got senior players in there, big players with big expectations. They have to be counted tonight. But I think it's an indication where we are going into this game as a football club at this moment in time, when the guys are talking about coming away with a 2-0 defeat. I think a month ago, or certainly last season, that wouldn't have been the case. We didn't go to here thinking a 2-0 defeat is on the cards. We were looking there to get a point, or a draw, or certainly win the game. But I just think it shows you how different and how football changes so quickly. That the guys are talking about bringing them back to Anfield with a 2-0 deficit.
But as Jay said, this is it. This is a squad full of good players. We should never, ever underestimate that. So it's within them to come through this game. Not like last year, maybe just getting away with it, but making sure it's about motivation and sort of being ready for it. You know you're going to be under the cosh. It's getting through segments of the game. You know you're going to have to be like that, and you're going to have to be together at every given moment.
It's so much of a mental battle as well as a physical battle tonight, isn't it, Tomo? But you've been in dressing rooms, not just as a player, but as a manager as well. So give us an indication maybe of the types of conversations that will be going on there right now.
Well, it is. Quite obviously, you have to G up the players and you have to get them motivated. But you always, that's down for the manager. But who motivates the motivator? Who helps him? His staff have got to be there as well to sort of G him up and to give him the confidence. You have to be in that, and you have to give them belief. You can't at any moment be giving your team talk, or prior to that, is that they smell a weakness in you. You have to make sure that you boys, you're the best. You are the best team in Europe. Now, let's go out and prove it together. Because if you're not together, you won't get anything. And they're the biggest things that you have to point out to them.
Let's speak about one of the players who's been probably the most outstanding player this season so far, in Dominik Szoboszlai. Gary, he is also the leading scorer in the Champions League for Liverpool this campaign, with 5 goals as well. He is the engine so often of this team, and someone who will be really needed to drive them forward tonight.
Well, it's a big stage for him, and I think we've seen it in the past that he can operate on this kind of level. He's as good a midfield player as probably what we can see in European football at this moment in time, both for club and for country. But he's got to do it on a regular basis, and he's got to do it from within a Liverpool side that it's not all about him for me. It's about the collective. Liverpool have always, right throughout the decades, going back even well before our time, it's never ever really been about the individual. It's all about the collective. But in saying that, he has played a massive part this season, and if he can get goals like this on a regular basis, then that will certainly help the team.
We're going to need his energy levels tonight. That because they're going to have a lot of the ball and they're going to move it about, and you've still got to stick to your plan in trying to press in certain areas. And I think he has been a catalyst when the best press, which we've not done great this year, but he's been at the hub of it.
Yeah, he's certainly added. Sorry, Gary,
So,
you're going to say.
I just think it'll be interesting to see where he actually plays. I think the guys talking in the build-up, that they obviously believe that it's going to go 3 at the back. I'm not 100% convinced that it will be 3 at the back. So it'll be interesting to see actually where he fits in that system, if it is 3 at the back, whether he'll be in a more advanced position or not.
It's quite interesting. Oh, sorry.
It's quite all right. You carry on.
It's looking at what Jason was saying, like we're quite convinced about it being 4 at the back, Gary himself beforehand, looking at where everybody. But it looks like when you listen to Jason and Rob, it's as though this is what's going to happen. So whether they've got an inkling of what it is, it's not the worst thing. I was calling for it for months ago that we should have gone to this formation. But tonight, doing it on a night like this would be a big call. A very big call.
It would, wouldn't it? One thing's for sure is that Hugo Ekitike will lead the line. And let's have a little look at him because he returns to his old club tonight, Gary. Maybe, again, we were speaking about the team having a point to prove from the weekend, but he might feel like he has a personal point to prove with PSG. Played 1 season here on loan, but then made the move permanent, and it didn't really work out for him.
No, I think he was a young lad. We've seen it in the past, like young lads, they're still developing. Players develop at different stages of their career and their life. And it wasn't ready. He obviously wasn't ready to step in. And you've got to remember, I think when he came at that time, there was big names, wasn't there? There was Neymar, there was Messi, big superstars. And it wasn't to be for him. But it just shows you that there's a career somewhere else. And if you go away and reinvent yourself, which he has done, he ends up at another massive club like Liverpool Football Club, and he has hit the ground running. He's been exceptional this season. 17 goals, I think. I think when you look at Paris Saint-Germain, I think Dembele's only got 15 goals or something like this, or 14 goals this season, which is astonishing. The fact is, though, that they can share it about with the front three. I think the front three are all in double figures. In fact,
quite formidable, yeah.
Yeah, quite formidable, yeah.
Yeah, and he will. We speak about the big stage. I mean, all of France's eyes will be on Hugo Ekitike tonight in this game, and the World Cup, of course. It's funny that he hadn't even made a senior appearance for France before he joined Liverpool.
And you can see that this is what Liverpool do for players.
Yeah.
They put them on the big stage, and that they can do it. As we've seen them all, Sadio Mane, Mo Salah, Bobby Firmino have come to as not big names, but made superstars out of them. Luis Suarez, we can go back. But you look at him, and Ekitike has got something, and you're hoping it's one of those nights which he could be the headliner in the papers tomorrow morning. But his attitude's got to be... I don't think his stamina is ever good for 90 minutes. So it's when you actually call time. That's why I was saying before about Isaac. Needs to be ready and be focused. That it could be that last 15 minutes or 20 minutes to give it his best.
Yeah, he's been substituted in 7 out of the 9 Champions League games, Hugo Ekitike. So as Tomo says, maybe that might be the window that we may see Alexander-Arnold.
I think most certainly, I think he will do. I think, I mean, he does put a shift in when he's on the pitch, in fairness to the lad. He works his socks off. He'll have to work his socks off tonight, because I think he might have a lone furrow to plough up front. But he's got an eye for a goal. I think he's still young as well. I think he's still developing, still getting better, and there's no club better than Liverpool to be at to get better and be on a platform to do that.
OK, thank you both. It is time now for us to leave those of you watching on our social media platforms. If you do want to stay with us here on LFC TV and or Red Video, you can find details right now on how to become a subscriber online at liverpoolfc.com/watch. Still to come before kick-off, more build-up, including an interview is on its way with Florian Wirtz. Then from 8 o'clock tonight, Ray Houghton will join Steve Hunter for live audio commentary. Before then, Ray joins Tomo and myself for all the post-match reaction at 10 o'clock. And that post-match show will also be available to listen to a little bit later on tonight. That is in the Reaction podcast. Tonight from midnight, you can see the full match replay on LFC TV, and then tomorrow night, Neil Mellor will be here with all the in-depth analysis of the match in the review show. The atmosphere is building out in Paris. The travelling fans will be in good voice tonight. Nothing better than a European away when the sun is shining, and so far this competition's been pretty good for the Reds. OK, let's go back to Paris now. We'll get Jason McAteer's thoughts on that Paris Saint-Germain side.
So Liverpool arrive in Paris taking on a Paris Saint-Germain side who've won their last 4 matches, scoring 15 goals in the process. The European champions, Jason, appear to be adopting Real Madrid's skill of just timing their run to the finish line very well.
Done that last season, didn't they? They had a really poor run in the Champions League, almost went out at the first stage, didn't they? And then